Thank you for being here. I am Tavish Cardiff, one of the co-founders of the ORM Material Practice, here with some arena guidance for this week. We are talking about the ignorance pillar, and in preparation of this week, because we are doing chords as an underlying focus, how does our spirit move us through each of the 12 pillars? I Bible dipped Common Sense, which Thomas Paine was one of the originators of this practice. And I knew diving into this book that I was probably going to get something that meant something to me. And it being the ignorance pillar, Ignorance Week, it's about what we don't know about what we think we know, or how much we don't know, or, that real measure of what we know, expect others to know in relation to what we know. We get all kinds of wound up about those matters. And here's what I opened to. It's from Thomas Paine's The Rights of Man. The opinions of men with respect to government are changing fast in all countries. The revolutions of America and France have thrown a beam of light over the world which reaches into man. The enormous expense of governments has provoked people to think by making them feel, and when once the veil begins to rend, it admits not of repair. Ignorance is of a peculiar nature. Once dispelled, it is impossible to reestablish it. It is not originally a thing of itself, but it is only the absence of knowledge, and though man may be kept ignorant, he cannot be made ignorant. The mind, in discovering truth, acts in the same manner as it acts through the eye in discovering objects. When once any object has been seen, it is impossible to put the mind back to the same condition it was before it saw it. In ignorance, what we find is the chaos of what happens in our mind, where it lands in our body, and how those things all connect. I have been looking this week into not just Thomas Paine, but how, prior to him, how Cicero connected specifically to Thomas Paine in the Enlightenment area. And then just to bring it all forward even further to this morning, with the siren in the background, which I always say brings an importance to what I'm saying. This morning, I read an article in The Atlantic, and it was called, Why do people think Donald Trump is good? Something to that effect. But it went back and talked about the Enlightenment era. It went back and talked about the time period where we became autonomous about our own values and did not learn how to be specifically a certain moral parameter of mother, father, child, teacher, you name it. Whatever the requirement was, there was one standard for being. And I think this particular arena brings us into our own ignorance about what we expect and about what other people expect and how different those things can be. So the challenge for this week in the ignorance pillar is just pay attention to how much you can learn by listening to what someone else has to say that's incredible to you versus firing off on how unbelievable or unreal or untrue what they're saying is. It's fascinating to listen to someone else explain how they got to the ideas they got to. If you can do that and breathe in your own body while you're doing that, that H2OM, water, breath, and alignment, will bring you back over and over again into relationship with each of these pillars, whether you know what you're calling them or not. So check your own knowledge within the raw material arena and get to know each pillar individually, your own relationship. It doesn't matter what you believe. It's more that you understand what you believe in relation to why and how you believe it. Have a great week. I will be back next week where we will begin to talk about emotion, the spirit of emotion. See you next week.